Hello everyone and welcome to episode 117, or should I say 1117 or 117?
117.
Yeah, episode 117 of the Xbox 4 Gamers podcast. This week I'm joined by Kyo.
Welcome everybody.
And Cameron.
Hello. Have we all watched the Halo Season 2?
No, I didn't watch Halo Season 1. Why would I watch
What
Season
are you
2?
talking about?
No, I just wanted to make sure. If it's episode 117.
Look, I'm not watching that shit unless we do it for like quote unquote content, you know? Like that's that's a lights, camera, and action bullshit thing. Exactly.
I did the wave thing with my hands just for
A
the
certain
listeners.
podcast has to pay for my subscription to be able to access that. So
Exactly.
You have Game Pass, and it's Paramount is like how many times has it been free?
yeah, but they don't do that. It's only for new accounts, isn't it? Every
Yeah.
time.
Has anybody used the Calm app?
The what?
I want to start
The
using the
what?
Calm. Nobody uses their perks.
Oh,
there.
the Calm Music.
Yeah.
It's a music app,
What?
isn't it?
There's
What do you?
the Game Pass
There's a
Ultimate
thing-
perks.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
There's an
did
app
the-
called Calm, and it's just a music app that I've never bothered
Listen,
with.
it's
so.
a long
'Cause I have
weekend.
Spotify.
I want to make sure this podcast goes off the rails as much as I can.
Yeah, that sounds about right. If you want to watch us live, the Trainwreck Live, Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us on Twitch, as always. We do the show usually on Fridays or Saturdays, depending on your time zone and who we have as guest. It is Good Friday today for us, although it's acceptable Thursday for our friends over in the States.
Mediocre Wednesday.
Mediocre, Wednesday, my dudes. All right, well, before this gets too derailed, let's get into our first question. We've got a couple of them this week. So we have one here from Zenimus, Zach, who says, okay, gather around. I have a question for all you. I know, crazy. I have a question. Yes, we know, Zach. Otherwise, you wouldn't be putting in the question channel. He's basically asking, what do we think about the closure of the store? The store closes July 29th, right, I believe? So
Yeah, July
only a few more
29th.
months for the Xbox 360. He's asking if we're going to be looking to buy any more games. Isaac also has a similar sort of question. Basically asking like, hey, did we, is there anything that we're looking to pick up? What are our thoughts? Are you going to be hunting down physical stuff to try and get this done beforehand? I know Super Bob put a bit of a thing in our Discord about stuff that won't be accessible or things that you definitely need to grab, like compatibility packs and things like that.
Yeah.
I started
any thoughts?
watching that video, and as much as I scrubbed through it, it's like, certain stuff will be delisted. Like, it looked like it had good content, but the opening of that video was like, Phil Spencer and Satya Nadella have some questions to be answered. And I'm like, please don't be one of these.
Oh my God. Like,
It was painful. It was very cringe.
yeah, I can't deal with that shit.
I mean, just going off the bat, I've got a ton of physical 360 stuff. I'm probably going to look into games that I've almost completed that I want to make sure I've got compatibility packs for, like Destiny 360, Assassin's Creed Black Flag 4. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, I think, is one. Just a few games like that. I'm not going to go off the rails with it, but yeah.
I'm probably going to grab, like Isaac was asked like earlier in the year, I basically said I've already bought what I basically needed on my 360 years ago when I moved over to the new consoles.
Yeah.
And if there's anything in my backlog, I don't think I'm going to be buying anything new that I haven't already owned, already started. But what I'm considering is maybe digitizing a bit more of my library. Because my biggest worry is that, like, if my disk drive goes in my 360 and I don't own the games digitally and I can't, then, I'm kind of out of fucking luck, or I've got to either dig out another disc or dig out another console. And both of those are going to get very, very hard to find in the next few years.
And then I feel like it's going to be a point too if you.
Yeah, I have one
console.
dodgy Xbox 360 disc drive.
Yeah. I was going to say it might be
Yeah,
a case of picking up another console and then not being able to get rid of it.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm thinking about maybe picking up one of the E series, because I've got the because they did the original and then it was like the S series and the E series or whatever it was.
Yeah, the economy version, basically.
Yeah.
So they took out a few essential bits, like the optical port and stuff like that.
So the thing that we haven't really looked at as well is, like, you think of... I'm just going to do a quick comparison, like GameCube, for example. I don't think any of us have even thought about, like, how much stuff is going to price hike.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a little bit different from the previous generations because like digital availability was a thing.
Yeah. True.
Where it's like in those previous generations, just like if you didn't have it on disc, you just literally could not play that game without going through sort of emulation. Whereas like now, it's like it's been a little bit more even. But even so, like I remember when I was in my like 360 hunting days, when I was like I needed to pick up stuff that I'd started and not finished. It took me forever to dig out some of those like more obscure games because I was playing everything. It was like Apache Air Assault is one that sort of sticks in my mind of like a game that like
Yes.
I was trying to find a copy of forever because I played it once, like I rented it or something, and there was a few multiplayer achievements that I just didn't get around to. And then I never saw a copy of it ever again. And then like I don't know if it wasn't available digitally or it was like I think it was a regional thing because it was also like the 360 had that thing where it was like you could only if you bought something in American region you had to have an American account or whatever. It was a fucking mess.
Yeah, we did that together actually. That one.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and so like that took me a long time to find, but I like just went in like as soon as I got it, I was like, okay, let's just get this done because I don't want to end up in that situation again where the disc breaks or something happens or yeah. I mean, like I'm definitely overly paranoid about a lot of this stuff, but the amount of time and money it takes to hunt down. I mean, like if you look at like import stuff, especially. I mean, shit, like Japanese stuff already goes for a lot of money. And actually looking at my list, I have a few things on here where I'm like, oh, man, I should really get that done.
Yeah, I mean, talking of Japanese stuff, we had Death Smiles, but there was a sequel that's Japan only that you could only get digitally, I think.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but that will go away. And if you're going to get it digital, it would be way really. So
yeah,
but.
It would be a lot nicer if more of the stuff was backwards compatible, you know? And I understand why it hasn't happened. Yeah. But like I've got a good list of like 40 to 50, I think it's like 40 games that are non-backwards compatible or something along those lines. I'll have a look at my list while we're talking.
The positive thing, like cause for celebration at the same time is 360 is going to be the last generation that we have to worry about backwards compatibility being
for the most part. I mean
for the most part. Like You think of any games that you no longer have access to in the Xbox One generation. The only stuff I can really think of is, like Rock Band, that kind of stuff. Peripheral base or delisted.
Yeah. It's pretty rare. It's like usually like Kinect stuff or licensed stuff that's been sort of taken down.
Yeah.
But it is relatively rare. And yeah, like you said, if anything is on Xbox One, you can pretty much play on the series consoles.
Well, I sorted 2 cupboards out of my physical stuff, and I put all of the Xbox One and backwards compatible 360 stuff in one, and then put everything else that wasn't backwards compatible in another, and I still have a cupboard. And I've got nearly 400 physical 360
Jesus
games.
Christ, yeah.
So, yeah, and that's not counting any digital stuff and games with gold or anything like that, so... And I normally ditch the games once I'm done with them. I normally sell them off or whatever. So, so...
I've got 44 non-backwards compatible games on the 360. And a lot of these, there's some Guitar Hero stuff in here that I don't think I'll ever finish. But there's a few in here that I should probably try and get back to.
Yeah.
I've got one of those 300 disc, like, CD folders. Yeah. I'm just going to start chucking them there and...
That's exactly what I did. Like I just threw out all the boxes because I'm like, these games by the time I finish them are not going to be worth anything anyway, and I don't really care.
I've got stuff like Spider-Man and that though. I'm going to check the value of.
Yeah.
But everything else is just going to go in the folder.
We did the same with DVDs. It's like all the DVDs went in a wallet, but all the Blu-rays are still in their cases, and eventually maybe they'll go and then
I don't think anyone's going to buy my copy of Star Trek Legacy for any real money, to be honest.
You never know.
Well, I am mostly looking at Xbox Live arcade titles that are pretty much exclusive to the 360. Some of these aren't. I don't know what other platforms they've been on, but I had the 360 loaded up, so I had a look at the pin list. I went through and checked all the pin stuff as the things that I was looking to pick up. And I've got stuff like Trials Fusion 360, which has a $30 game and a $30 season pass still. Penny Arcade on the Rain Slick Precipice of Darkness. I need the second episode of that. I never picked that up. South Park Tenement's Revenge. Amy, State of Decay, That's another big one as well with DLC.
Yes, State of Decay would be
Yeah, but once it's gone, right? So that's kind of like a good one to get a hold of.
Yeah.
And the achievements for the 360 version, for the most part, carry across, and then there's a few extra things you've got to do.
Oh, okay.
So, which is really good to know. I think Firehawk did that already. So Shane.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah, I remember him talking a bit about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Death Jester, I think, another friend of ours. Mark of the Ninja Fez is one that will go away, I believe.
You'll smash through those.
I don't think it's anywhere. The Bridge and Dishwasher Vampire Smile, which is a sequel as well.
Yeah.
So there are a few others on there, but they're the main ones that I kind of wanted to look at first. So, but then you got stuff like Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection and things like that. So,
yeah. I've got like Serious Sam 3 here. I need to do that. I've got like 4 achievements left.
Ooh.
Marvel vs. Capcom Origins, which has already been delisted years ago, and so I definitely need to finish that up at some stage.
Yeah. I think I need to do the multiplayer for that, actually. So,
should definitely do that. But there's still plenty. But again, in terms of like purchases, I'm basically going to I don't think I'm looking for anything new at this stage. I don't really want to risk it. And there's like the 360 is when I played, I really went in deep with games that I was really interested in. It's not sort of reflected in my gamer score because you went from games that were 200 to 400 to now 5,000 point easy games. So it's not really apples to apples anymore. But I put a lot of time into the 360, and it's still where I have. If I look at my game collection of things that I need to play on the 360, it's still 113 games in my collection that I need to finish.
Yeah, right.
Out of 189.
Started or not started?
Started. I have 360. I don't have any unstarted, basically. I think I've got 2 worlds, which I think is maybe the only unstarted one I have.
All right.
I have 3 pages of non-backwards compatible.
Most of my stuff isn't on TA. Like, I haven't added them as games. They're just sitting because I've got a whole cupboard of it. But I have got a really nifty Android app that's called Retro Game Collector, which you could buy like one platform or you could buy every platform. Because I'm multi-platform. I have like different consoles of everything, like 22 different consoles over the years, DS and Switches and all that kind of stuff. I bought the whole app a couple of years ago, and I've actually just now been going through today and over the weekend, the week going through and cataloging some of the stuff, opening a box, taking photos and adding into the app everything I've got to kind of put it together. So, and actually that app gives you the eBay values to kind of give you an estimate of your collection value too, which is really good.
Well, thanks for the question, Zach and Isaac. We'll definitely be talking more about 360 games when we come to our themed month.
Yes.
But first, let's get into the news. Cameron, you've grabbed a few things for us. There's quite a bit going on this week. Where do you want to start?
There's so much. Okay, most of this we can split into one of 2 camps. We can put in hardware, speculation, or the Xbox storefront. And then the other one is all industry news. So I think starting off, we'll just go through the portable Xbox rumors again.
Yep. Yeah, we have kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's kind of cropped up again.
Pardon me. With handheld systems like the Asus ROG Ally, the Legion Go, and the Steam Deck becoming popular ways for people to enjoy Game Pass games on the go, many have wondered, if not hoped, that Xbox would make their own. Phil Spencer has talked about handhelds in a recent interview, but hasn't confirmed that a handheld is on the way. During a recent interview with Polygon, Phil Spencer discussed his experience using the Lenovo Legion Go during his trip to GDC, saying, "I'm on the airplane and I have a list of everything that makes it not feel like an Xbox. Forget about the brand, more like, are all my games there? Do all my games show up with the save files that I want? I'll tell you one game that doesn't right now, and it's driving me crazy, is Fallout 76. It doesn't have cross-save." That also would have been a point of they acquired Bethesda after Fallout 76, and I'm pretty sure they mentioned in the past that that's been an issue. Whereas I think the newer Bethesda stuff is all sort of a cross-save, right?
Should be. Yeah, as long as it doesn't have a separate SKU, which I don't think much of it does.
Yeah. I want to be able to boot into the Xbox app in a full screen, but in a compact mode. And all my social experiences there, like I wanted to feel like the dash of my Xbox when I turn on the television, except I want it on those devices. Spencer says that he likes the fact that multiple hardware companies are innovating in the handheld space, commenting that they feel more like a console than a PC. 9 times out of 10, Interestingly, Spencer says it's a Windows experience that usually lets down the system. Things that usually frustrate me are more Windows-based than device-based, which is an area I feel some ownership of. Xbox has been on a mission to expand the platform beyond its console in recent years, rolling out the Play Anywhere experience for console and PC for cross-saving, pushing for cross-platform compatibility, fleshing out Game Pass, increasing the reach of Xbox Cloud Gaming, and more. We've already seen 2 exclusive games launched on PS5, and Nintendo Switch in recent months, and 2 more games are set to follow. According to Phil Spencer, handheld systems are another way of giving Xbox players more choice. Basically, with all the handheld conversations as of late, I would not be surprised if we get an announcement sometime soon.
Not to rehash our entire discussion from a few weeks ago, but
Yeah.
I still think that this is like a Lenovo partnership thing. I don't think maybe Microsoft comes out with this, like, I don't know, like, it doesn't make sense if Microsoft comes out with a Surface, like a Microsoft Surface, whatever.
Yeah,
Like, they already have that brand. They already do it for tablets. They already do it for laptops.
I don't think it will be a Microsoft device, though. I think it needs to be an Xbox device.
Yes, I don't know about that.
Or at the very least, it needs, like, I've got a ROG Ally, for example. Yeah, it is a portable Windows machine. I would much rather have that highly, what's the right word I'm looking for? I want a very compact OS that replicates the Xbox system. I want to play Xbox games on the go, not PC versions of Xbox games on the go.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was pretty much leading into the point that I was going to say, because you can't have a portable Windows device that plays PC games without having like a universal system like it. The Xbox is like a contained code that will play Xbox games. So they have to do the Xbox system, because if they do PC, then it's opening up to all different system specs and requirements and everything else.
And they wouldn't be worried about the hardware sales or anything either. They're after software and subscription.
That's why it's such a strange thing for me. Like, I could definitely see. That's why I'm kind of leaning them towards doing a partnership with something like a Lenovo or a ROG, where it's like they're not bringing out an Xbox branded device. They bring out a device that is, supported by them with marketing dollars and, give them the thumbs up or whatever you want to call it, But it's like another brand.
It's the same as the Switch argument, though. If you're getting a console into more players' hands, then it's still going to boost your software and digital sales.
Sure. That's 100% true. And to be fair, they apparently do have some prototypes already that they're kind of working with in this space, which makes perfect sense, right? Because it's like this market has kind of exploded. Yeah. But what form that takes, I'm very, very curious to see, because like I said last time, like, you kind of have the sliding scale of, like, you have something that's like the PlayStation Portal thing that is like just streams from Xbox or just from cloud to the thing, and that's it. Just from the console to that, you have a cloud device that just streams cloud, or you have something that's an onboarding device like the Lenovo.
I'd love to know the sales figures for the Portal.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the PlayStation Portable is, from every sense of like how it's been marketed and all that, it seems like the kind of thing that, why would anybody buy this?
Yeah, it seems like a pointless thing.
But if this was an Xbox device, if the PlayStation Portable was an Xbox PlayStation Portable, I would 100% go in on that. If it just meant that I was just laying in bed and playing a really nice controller experience compared to like a ROG Ally, where it's the problem with the ROG Ally is, sure, I'm playing PC games and it's great for some games, but after a while you just feel that heaviness of it, and you just go.
I have a thing with portable devices where I just don't like looking down and at something, and like
I want to be like this though. You know?
But then you're holding your arms up, so
I know,
you really got to work out your arms.
You just have one on each arm and do some reps with them. Yeah.
What about the teenage girl on the phone laying on the bed kind of pose?
So one of the little things that I did in bed, actually, was that I grabbed one of those key light things that have the phone holders attached to them, and I attached it stuck it to the bed head above me so that I could just have the phone in that, and I'm lying looking up at it, and then grab the controller and just play it and could look up.
Yep.
Lying on my pillow, there's no strain, there's no whatever. I'm just looking up and playing, lying down, basically. So it's like if I could just have the controller in my hand and not strain my neck or my eyes or whatever, then that'd be perfect, right?
Yeah.
So
Should really get
Then
like
the-
one of those, projectors and just project it upwards and then just do it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was that rumor about them just doing the Xbox controllers that connect to the screen that have like a little thing in them. So they could put like a little mini projector on it, and you could just have that projecting straight up.
And then within a week, somebody will
Choose the direction.
Sorry, you go, Matt.
I was gonna say it runs out of battery in 5 minutes and melts your hands. You can't actually drop the thing because it's the plastic has basically become part of you.
And we find
It'll
out
heat up like a motherfucker.
we get a news announcement a week later that somebody's found out how to play Doom on it, the original.
Yeah, well, we fucking hope so. Considering Microsoft own it. Yeah, I think that, like, I'm in support of it. I think a streaming device makes so much sense, but then also the kind of the interesting thing there is that, like, they already allow streaming on all the devices anyway. So I guess the only thing that would make sense is for them to build something that is games on the thing, like the ROG Ally, like a more powerful device. But I'm very curious to see like how successful that market has been. I mean, obviously the Steam Deck got a lot of headlines and a lot of interest, and you get people like Skill Up talking about how much they love it all the time, and a lot of gaming journalists have talked about like getting use out of this thing.
That's the thing too with the Steam Deck. They went from the OLED and it was based like there was no marketing.
Yeah, they just kind of switch it over. Yeah, but so like Steam is such a strange, or like Valve is such an interesting company that answer to no one and basically give no details out about anything.
Yeah.
Like they're fucking the dark wizards of this industry. We just have no idea what the fuck's going on over there. And so I'm just so curious around like, I mean, obviously Microsoft think that this is something they want to look at, and they've obviously been putting some time into, and it's not completely worthless, obviously, to them. Look, if it comes down to it, if they put out a ROG Ally sort of thing, which is it plays the games on the handheld device. It's quite big, it's heavy, it's expensive. Are you guys interested at the end of the day? Like out of the three of us, would any of us buy it?
I don't want another ROG Ally that's heavy, but I wouldn't. What's the right way to say this? I would definitely go for a device that allows me to play an Xbox ecosystem portably. That's the selling point for me. If they got
okay. Well, the next question to do with that, I mean, I haven't answered your question yet, but would you have it? Do you need it just a screen with a separate controller, like the Switch? Like is it one of the latest ones did that where they disconnect the controller?
Mark shilling for a second. X screen. We've already seen people with Series S's put portable monitors to their thing. Mm-hmm. There is a market there that people want a portable, at the very least, a portable Series S.
Yeah.
To what form factor that ends up being, like, I mean, Microsoft's tried all different stuff. They tried the cloud streaming boxes. We have new TVs now that have, not Game Pass, but cloud implemented.
Yeah, the native Game Pass cloud app built into it. Yeah.
What's
the new Samsungs. Yeah.
I think the ultimate thing is trying to get it down to a form factor of like similar to a Switch. Not saying like the features of a Switch where you've got the removable Joy-Con, I couldn't think of the word for a second, Joy-Cons, and like the stand and that kind of stuff. But just that, the best possible form factor for me would be the Switch Lite. Like the one device kind of take as you go.
And so, but the only way that that would work is basically if it basically did streaming only, really, right? Because if you want something that's small and that light, it's not going to be able to. You can't put a graphics card in that thing, basically.
Yeah.
So the difference there then is how useful is that device to you? Because take me and you for example. Yeah, you're always traveling away for work.
Yeah.
So a device like that's probably not suited for you, but for somebody who's mostly at home all the time, maybe I just want to take my device to the other room, lay in bed, and watch TV in the background.
But I guess Microsoft's argument to that would be you have a phone.
Yeah.
You might have a tablet. You might have, like, I have a laptop, right? Like, I can stream my Xbox to my laptop anytime I want. And so, like, it would feel like a weird thing where it's like, I'm pretty sure, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here. If you have a Microsoft Surface tablet, you should be able to stream from your Xbox straight to that as long as you have the Xbox app, right? Like this would just be, I can't see them putting out a device that's just that again.
Kia, you got a Surface, right?
I have a Surface. Yeah, well, I swear by it most of the time.
Sure.
So, you know, and I load up the Xbox app, and I've said this before, that I can play Death Stranding on my Surface Pro 8, i7, whatever, right? So
you play that natively, not streaming?
Natively downloaded, yeah. And this is the PC version runs.
Sure, right.
So a Surface is powerful enough, if you get the right version, to do that natively with a PC game. You need to be able to do these things natively with the Xbox games, though.
Yeah.
So it needs to have some kind of packet that preloads the game to the other device, I think. Like, say
I can't see them doing it.
I'm talking about, like, the Surface, for example.
Sure.
If you had the Xbox app that was able to preload the packet of the game onto the computer just for the purpose of playing from it, so it was like playing natively, then it's like playing it natively without the lag. If you try to do anything Xbox streaming with most devices in Australia or Australian networks or whatever, you have a rubbish time trying to stream everything. The best I've had with streaming the Xbox app is through the Edge browser. That's the only thing that I've done that has had, like, next to zero lag and actually works close to perfect. And you can do that through the Surface because it's a browser, it's on a computer. But I really think that whatever game you load up, it needs to load something to the device, not access it so you can kind of break it and get into the code and access the game. It just has to be in the background so that it's like you're playing a native game without playing it natively. So
I just want the Xbox version. Like, hands down, end of the day.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I don't think you're going to get the Xbox version. I think you're going to get the PC version of all these things, because the thing is that, like, the Xbox ecosystem is so locked down, and if they bring out one of these devices, chances are you're going to be able to bootload it the same way you can with the current other devices, right? Not like natively, like they're not going to have an option in there, but like you can run Windows on a Steam Deck, right? Sure, it comes loaded with Proton, and you kind of have to just, that's the way it works natively, but you can quite easily go in there and put your own bootloader and do all that kind of shit. Like, we're talking about mini PCs here. We're not talking about portable Xboxes. I think that's the key thing we have to remember here, is that we're talking about the PC market.
Yeah, that's the difference for me, though, because, like, I'd be very interested to see how you go with Rogue Ally, because the PC experience for Xbox is way too limited. And
I agree.
It's not limited. It's just the fact that you're as an achievement hunter. It's not optimized
for a handheld device. Basically,
it's more so that you're an achievement hunter and you're in that ecosystem. It's not like we're going to play Steam games for achievements.
Yeah.
In terms of a Rogue Ally or a Legion Go and all that, you have access to all those different storefronts. But I'm not going to go and download a Steam game and get those achievements when I could be getting my game score up.
Sure. What's your point?
My point with that is, though, we need a portable device. Like, even if it is a mini PC, you need that portable device that can still read Xbox.
It's not going to happen. That's what I'm telling you. Is that there's no way that they put the Xbox, any Xbox game that isn't already compatible with Windows 11 or Windows 10, because this thing is going to run Windows 11. Like that's what it's going to be. It'll be a mobile version, an optimized version of Windows 11. And chances are, if I was a betting man, when Phil Spencer the other week said that, we're looking at getting all your cloud library onto all your cloud library, as opposed to just your Game Pass library available on the cloud, put out the console at the same time. Because then it's like, well, actually, that's when you get access to everything. It's like, well, now you can cloud stream your entire library.
I believe, is what you mean. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, your purchases as opposed to just the Game Pass stuff. Because right now, like, if they put this thing out, it's like, you play PC Game Pass stuff, and it'll be a PC Game Pass machine, which is too limited for them.
Yeah.
yeah, like I can't see them allowing you. Well, look, the way they would have to do it is they would have to emulate an Xbox on those things, which they potentially probably could do, but I don't think there's enough of a market for them to bother.
And if they're emulating an Xbox on anything, then they're not making consoles.
Exactly. Like they and if you're going to be emulating something, you usually need to have a more powerful thing to emulate it, right? Like that's how the 360 emulation happened. So anyway,
all I'm getting is why we shouldn't do it and not why we should.
I think it's a bad idea, to be honest. I think it's a market that will not work out well for Microsoft in the long run. If they're doing what I think they're going to be doing, which to be fair, like I might be completely wrong, and this might be a middle of the road thing that plays a couple of games like The Surface, but is actually more focused on streaming, which is they think is their future, which it is realistically.
And they need to have the home console, and if they have a portable device, then it's a secondary device, just like the PlayStation Portal.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely think that makes a lot more sense because
it has to be a companion.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
They had an Xbox companion app, it died. They had a Smart Glass app, it died.
Did they?
Well, they had Windows phones too, and those died. And so it's like, that was the companion piece was supposed to be. But I'm very curious what they're going to do in this space and how they're going to, like, first of all, what the device looks like, and then how they market it. Like, because like you said, Keo, if it's a companion device, that's a very different kind of sell to. It's your all-in-one portable PC that plays Xbox stuff. Because, to your point, Cameron, if it's an all-in-one PC, you market that as a Microsoft device with Xbox capabilities, not an Xbox device.
Yep. And keyword being companion here. Companion meaning you're going to be selling to your existing audience because they're the people that are going to buy it. The hardcore are going to buy it. It's not going to tap into a new market because everyone else has every other device.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if it does less than the Steam Deck or the Lenovo Go or the ROG Ally, right? If it's more limited or it only runs Windows or whatever that ends up being. And I know we're being Debbie Downers about this, but I honestly it just seems like such a strange direction for Microsoft to go in. But who knows?
Such an amazing chance to segue 2 minutes ago, and you just kept going.
Please.
Speaking of the future, segues.
Yes, I've heard of it. I've heard of the future.
Xbox.
What about Segway?
Please tell me about it.
Don't buy scooters.
I never bought a Segway. I heard they were very expensive, but I did see one at a convention once.
Segways kind of just feel like,
public services announcement. Segways aren't built for roads. They're built for footpaths. And metro areas, do not ride them on the roads.
All right,
because then I'd probably have to deal with them at the store that I work. I don't want to have to deal with any more of those.
Here's the customer service attendant coming out and telling us all the road and regulation restrictions and.
Well, they have them just like drones. So
now you're being the Debbie Downer.
Anyway, segue. Let's go.
Just like a good segue, Cameron, you should lean into it. What do we got next?
Xbox could feature Epic Game Store and other storefronts someday.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that makes sense. If they go third party, they might not have a choice.
Phil Spencer has hinted that we could potentially see third party storefronts arrive on Xbox in the future, such as Epic Game Store and itch.io. Does anybody here other than me know what itch.io is?
Of course, itch.io is a great place to play free indie games that people put up for like game jams,
like experimental.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of porn, like way too like a lot of people put porny games on there. They're like, hey, I feel I would probably get arrested if I sold this, so please take it away from me, basically.
Mm-hmm. It appears that Phil Spencer.
I don't think it's on their marketing thing, but I think that's a big chunk of it.
What are they itching?
I'm not asking.
Do you know why the Epic Games market could not exist on a platform like a portable handheld designed as a Windows 10 11 device?
I don't know. I haven't even got through the article yet. So you
No, because the Epic's Game Store is a PC marketplace, and if there's an Xbox PC, then you're looking at dipping into the Epic Store.
PC on consoles is a future that I could see happening.
Okay.
Why?
Keep going with the article. Let's go. Let's derail.
Yeah, let's go.
It's more access to users. Anyway, appears that Phil Spencer is looking at new ways to shake up the Xbox experience as a way to make Xbox stronger in the long run. During a recent interview, Phil Spencer hinted that we could potentially see third-party storefronts arrive on Xbox bringing the console experience more in line with PC. During a recent interview, Polygon asked Phil Spencer if he could see a future where stores like itch.io and Epic Games existed on Xbox, and whether it was just a matter of figuring out mountains of paperwork to get there, to which the Xbox boss replied yes. Our history as consider our history as a Windows company. Nobody would blink twice if I said, hey, when you're using a PC, you get to decide the type of experience you have by picking where to buy your games. There's real value in that. We've already seen Microsoft take steps to extend its reach by launching some Xbox exclusives on rival platforms, but it seems Spencer also aims to lower barriers on Xbox as well. According to Spencer, exclusivity with games and subsidizing consoles isn't as feasible now. Subsidizing hardware becomes more challenging in today's world. And I will say, and this may seem too altruistic, I don't know that it's growing the industry. So I think, what are the barriers? What are the things that create friction in today's world for creators and players? And how can we be part of opening that model? If I want to play on a gaming PC, then I feel like a more continuous part of a gaming ecosystem as a whole. As opposed to on my console, my gaming is kind of sharded, to use a gaming term, based on these different closed ecosystems that I have to play across. You want me to keep going, or we want to discuss?
No, I think we get the idea.
Yeah.
So
do you know what else? Yeah, you go first.
I wanted to say, let's go back 8 years to the concept of cross-platform gaming.
Sure.
That's where my mind immediately goes to. Like, our past perception of, like, I could never play with players on another console. It just wasn't a thing, really.
Yeah, it wasn't possible. Yeah.
Until the barriers started coming down and we, like, learnt stuff. What was it? PlayStation charging, I think it was Rocket League. Psyonix being, like, one of the first one to kind of reveal that was a possibility.
There was basically a thing where it's like, if they bought microtransactions on the PlayStation, but they were on other things or whatever, there was a whole very convoluted argument with their agreements that they had with cross-platform developers. Yeah.
There's a couple of things. If you go back 3 years to 2021, I think, they put the Amazon mobile marketplace on the Windows Store. And not too long ago, it's actually shut down. So
really?
They've already done that. So yeah. So it was a separate thing. That it was like a, I think it's like a, they've got some other tools in behind the Windows stuff, like the Linux. There's like a Linux background thing you can install, and you had to install like a, the Android marketplace itself within the Windows Store, and it basically updates your computer to be compatible with the mobile marketplace. And then you go on a Windows Store. If you try to search anything, you find Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, which is like a which uses an Android device, and you click on that, and it says install like Amazon Marketplace or whatever to actually use that. Use it. Right.
So
makes sense.
You just reminded me of a whole bunch of Amazon devices that break a whole bunch of compatibility issues.
Yeah, so they've done this already with the Amazon Marketplace store, and they've already shut this down.
Yeah.
So either it's to test bed for something else, or there's some licensing stuff that they couldn't get past. And the longer you have these things on a platform, the more expensive it's going to get, because the fees will probably increase over time and stuff like that.
You think like something like Epic, though, when you've got gaming exclusivity and all that, and then being able to bring that to a particular ecosystem, how much more of a sell is that for the console?
I mean, okay,
there's a few different ways you can look at this. If I'm looking at it from the Epic Game Store, I would assume if Epic came to Xbox, we wouldn't get stuff like Xbox achievements for Epic Games or anything like that.
Yeah, right. It would just you'd get the Epic version of it.
Yeah, you would get the Epic version of it. It would just be the same. It would just be having that access to that ecosystem on your console. Whether that's really a positive benefit for us as the achievement hunters, probably not.
Yeah.
But for a typical gamer, you've got access then to all the Epic free games, which there's a ton of all the time.
For now, yeah.
For now, at the very least, yep. You've got access to exclusivity deals you might be a PC gamer, but you might not want to buy off the. Oh well, that argument doesn't work.
Yeah,
yet.
so
never mind.
Let me just pose some questions here, because like I don't want. We don't know quite what this means, and like he was kind of asked about this, like this was kind of like, hey, do you want to put these storefronts on this thing? And he's like, yeah, sure, we'll work with them, right? From a functionality point of view,
yeah,
what benefit is it to Epic to be on Xbox? And we're not talking about on Microsoft, because obviously they're already there, right? Like if you have a Microsoft PC, you can already go download your Epic games, right? We're talking about on an Xbox, let's say a console. So. Yeah. Epic, like tomorrow, Epic Games Store opens on the Xbox system. What happens? Well, if I want to go and play an Epic game, I go on the Epic Store and it's like, hey, I want to play this game that's released exclusively to the Epic Store because they have an exclusivity agreement for 6 months. And does the developer go, oh, well, we built this for Epic on PC, so this isn't compatible with Xbox. You can't actually play it. Because for this stuff to work, you need, again, I'm happy to be corrected here, but my thinking is, how many of these games have Xbox SKUs? And if they do, what's the point in buying them in Epic? Because then they'll already be available. Like what's exclusive to the Epic Store that isn't already on the Xbox Store that would be beneficial for the user at the end of the day to get it from Epic as opposed to anywhere else? Like, is this just a scenario where it's just free stuff? And it's just like itch.io, they're like, yeah, we put itch on here and it works like the community Xbox thing used to be back in the day where people just release stuff for free and you can kind of try it out. And they have compatibility stuff that they take care of on the back end. And it's not for big games. It's not for major marquee releases. It's very much a value add that almost game jam kind of stuff that almost no one uses. Because I just can't think of a situation where like Alan Wake comes out on, like, imagine if Alan Wake wasn't on the Xbox and it was just on Epic because they had the exclusivity agreement because they helped pay for the game. The Epic Store comes to the Xbox and you go on the Xbox and you go, well, I want to play Alan Wake 2. And it's like, well, I don't want to play it on PC because this store is now on the Xbox. So I'm going to go. And they're like, well, we didn't develop the game for Xbox. We developed it for PC on Epic. So like, this kind of relates to another discussion that's kind of going on at the moment around games are not like Xbox games or Xbox versions of games are becoming rarer and rarer. There's been a lot of talk, and there's some GDC stuff I saw around people saying, what's the point in developing an Xbox version of this game? Because they don't sell that well. Their market stuff is, they have a very small market share versus the cost of development. I can't see any real tangible benefit to having these storefronts on the Xbox itself if there is not an Xbox version of it. It's a situation where if there's an Xbox version of it, then you'd probably play it on the Xbox version. If there isn't, then the Epic Game Store doesn't serve a purpose. Like it seems 100% pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like they just need to keep going in the opposite direction where they start putting Xbox stuff everywhere else. Like
exactly,
they had the Apple headset that were they testing, or is it on there? The Xbox
the Vision Pro.
Oh yes, yeah.
So they need to get Xbox into the Fortnite game hub.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Like
with the exclusive, the only thing Epic has is like the exclusive games that are coming into Fortnite. So what, are you going to put a Fortnite hub on the Xbox or something like that and then do something like that with it? Maybe, there's no benefit for anybody except Microsoft giving Epic money, which they're probably already doing.
The only way that this would work basically is if it was some sort of agreement that they could stream Epic exclusive games and that it streams out to the Epic server or whatever, and there's some kind of agreement there that they work on, which maybe that's the future of it. And the storefront is basically just a facade for you getting access to their stuff. So if you buy a microtransaction while streaming one of these games, Epic gets a cut basically. Yeah. And it's like, if it's like, oh, you can stream out to, like, you can play the new Fortnite Lego thingamajig, or the Fortnite race I can't remember what it was.
Rocket Racing or something.
Rocket Racing, yeah. If that doesn't come out on the Xbox and it's Epic only, and it's like, there's no Xbox version of it, So you don't get achievements or anything, but you basically get to stream the PC version to your Xbox, play it on a controller. They do some techno magic in the background to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm not sure about like how it would work.
Sure.
But I mean, for the why, it would be getting access to the exclusivity, those titles. It would be like the fact that Epic is getting all its money from Fortnite and not growing its storefront by, giving away free games and all that kind of stuff. It's access to another user base.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing for Phil to say, like, he gets asked about, hey, other stuff. And also, I think that this is probably a smart move on his part to say that he's open to this idea, while knowing that realistically there's no real reason why it would happen. Yeah. Because they're already talking about, there's already the legal stuff with, like, Apple having a locked thing. Yeah. Like, for them to say, maybe this is Phil basically saying, yeah, absolutely, we're open to having third parties on our platform. We don't have any problem with it. We don't want to get sued. Because like Apple is already being hit by the Department of Justice in the US this week around the fact that they essentially have a walled garden and have basically.
Yep.
The next thing I kind of wanted to say, but was looking for a place to bring it up.
Yeah.
It's like the walled garden stuff is the basis of some of the heavy legal issues at the moment. So, like PlayStation having, I think there's another thing about PlayStation having a monopoly over digital prices.
Right.
So like they leaving games at the same prices and all that kind of stuff when things diminish and all that kind of. I don't know exactly what it's about, but there's a whole bunch of stuff like there's no value. They're not doing anything with the store basically that benefits the people that are buying the stuff. So.
Yeah, so maybe this is more of a tactical thing, and basically being like, this is maybe the safer way to this is the safest approach to be. And like Microsoft has always been a relatively open platform, at least in terms of like on PC, where it's like, you can have Steam, you can have the 50 fucking installers or things that you need, like Steam and Stardock's thing and fucking Origin and Epic Game Store and all these like desktop applications running on Windows 11 with no problem.
Yep, it's the classic "we're keeping our options open" statement.
Exactly. Yeah.
Going back to Kira's point before, I saw a very interesting article this morning about just like dark trends in the industry of like, and just being very careful of like, it's so hard to contextualize like after the fact, but essentially, like the dark psychology of certain like gaming renovations. So like you think of loot boxes for Overwatch, for example, and like making sure companies don't go down that trend.
Sure.
There was actually, I need to find the link. There was a really good website that actually you can search by game and other players like rate it on those dark practices.
Right. Okay.
Just for like user knowledge. But anyway, you want to talk about white Xbox Series X?
There isn't too much to say yet, but basically there was a bit of a leak that it looks like the white all digital Series X has kind of been pictured or photographed or seen, and this looks like it. I don't know if this is like a full console refresh or just kind of a because from what we can see here, it doesn't necessarily look like this is like the 2.5 or the 1.5 version that they were kind of talking about in those documents a few years ago.
This 100% seems like how we got the announcement for the Black Series X being a 1 terabyte console.
Exactly.
Same kind of trend. Diskless seems to be the major thing here. I mean, we haven't seen any official marketing or anything. Whether they keep that tagline of adorably all digital makes me gag. I hate it so much.
Is it adorable? Is it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I would not be surprised if this isn't something that's announced at the June showcase.
Yeah, like apparently it might have, like it says, like the rumor is it has like an enhanced heat sink.
I'm sure they would have made like a bunch of minor improvements over time just for
well, in the same way that when they do slim versions of consoles, they just kind of make some smaller, like not like when the when the Xbox One S came out, they were like, yeah, it's basically the same console, but like we added the 4K port on it or whatever. Like it's minor stuff.
It does seem a little bit harder for Xbox to hide their iterative stuff in their console because the PlayStation had 3 different models before they went to the slim model.
Yeah.
And very few people would actually realize the heat sinks are completely changed.
Yeah.
It's lighter. And like we don't know what Xbox has been doing to the insides of their consoles as they've like sold more stock, or if they've made any changes. No one's reported,
or if they've sold any stock.
Any of that. So if it's exactly the same console that it was, then they kind of need something.
I had a question for you too.
A little bit updated.
Yes.
Yep.
What color is your fridge?
Silver.
Silver.
Missed opportunity here. I really wish the
silver,
other color would have been like not stainless silver, but
stainless steel Xbox.
All right.
You pick it up and you burn your fucking hands.
Here's a question for you, Cameron.
Yeah.
What room outside your kitchen do you have silver things? Do you only have silver things in your kitchen? And then you go into any other room, it's either black or white?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, like I mean like my monitor stands and that kind of stuff, but
that's
not
right.
an Xbox fridge.
It does make me think of back in the day with the PlayStation 3 did that, like the prototype with the silver console with the boomerang controllers with the long a silver console would be so weird. It'd be so very weird.
Yeah, and a little bit too close to Sony's silver classic theme.
Yeah.
Because they've had a few different shades of silver, and I have the silver PS2 console like nearby. I'd grab the controller and show you it's that close, and that silver is actually a different silver to the new silver plates that they've actually just released. It was looking like it was going to be very much that silver classic look, but the PS2 platinum color was like a shiny, really bright silver. Where the new one is kind of like that matte grayish kind of silver and a little bit different. So, and then the PS1 consoles were like a dirty plastic gray color.
Yeah, classic. Like classic. Like I mean, that was the plastic of the time, right? That's what the SNES was made out of, a similar kind of plastic. Like it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Very chunky. Yeah, I mean, like I think this is going to be a very minor refresh for them, and they'll just kind of use this to phase out the old ones in the same way they kind of done with the Series S, and we'll just kind of eventually move over to this model. If they ever get rid of all their Series X stock, which I'm getting from the talk, quote unquote, sounds like they're still struggling to sell. So, yeah, we'll see if this. I don't think this is going to change anything.
No.
On the other side, I've heard that the PS5, the PS5.5 or whatever, the sort of PS5 Pro, is not. I mean, from the reception has not been widely super accepted in terms of like a need for it. Most people don't seem all that interested in it. Be curious to see.
Pricing speculation's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the price stuff looks really interesting. That's kind of where I think we'll make or break it. Is like if they put it out for a really good deal, then maybe it makes sense. Like maybe it's the thing where it's like if someone hasn't got a PS5, maybe that's the thing to go for. But
I mean, like different ecosystem, but like there hasn't been really any games in the PS5 library that have interested me. PS4 had a much better lineup over its history.
Sure, yeah. To be fair, I mean, yeah, like so did the Xbox One. To be fair, as opposed to the Series S.
Yeah. Well, the joke was that there weren't any games last year, and there weren't any games this year. So
true.
Yeah, and then
I missed 2022.
Oh my god, I'm just suddenly thinking of. I saw a comment of, it was a panel. I'm explaining memes here on the podcast, so thanks.
That's what we usually have to do with our community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's an audio format. It was the classic panel of Goku versus Vegeta in the early Dragon Ball Z Saiyan Saga.
Yep.
And Goku's like, let's go fight somewhere empty because he doesn't want to hurt anybody. And then like it's just them two superimposed over the Wikipedia page of exclusive PS5 games, and there's like six of them.
Wow.
It's an old meme, but it is still kind of true. There's not been a lot of stuff this generation, and we've talked about this before around. There's not really a lot of exclusive stuff this generation, and I don't see that changing. It is weird to think that we're already potentially halfway through a generation. Anyway, let's move on. What do we got next?
Xbox Cloud Gaming is adding mouse and keyboard support.
Great. Yep. That makes perfect sense. They already have some games that have compatibility with mouse and keyboard, so this seems like a good next step.
The following list of currently supported titles with known issues and more details available on the Xbox website include Fortnite in browsers only, Ark Survival Involved, Sea of Thieves Grounded, Halo Infinite, Atomic Heart, which apparently there's a known issue between swapping between gamepad and mouse and keyboard. Sniper Elite 5, Deep Rocket Galactic, High on Life, Zombie Army 4, Dead War, Gears Tactics, Pentiment, Doom 64, and Age of Empires 2. So what you're telling me, wireless keyboard and mouse, and I can play Age of Empires 2 in bed? Sold.
Yeah, easy. You can just stream it.
Yeah. There are definitely some compatibility issues with Xbox and keyboard and mouse. It acts like a main controller, but doesn't implement it like a main controller. It's like it's dummying off your main controller. Like, my example is Call of Duty Cold War, mostly, I've got experience of, but I've been playing Modern Warfare 3 lately. And
I wonder who got you into that.
Well, back into that, I had it installed waiting for somebody I knew, at least somebody I knew to play Call of Duty with. So basically, you have to use your main controller and have it turned on while you're using a mouse and keyboard. But if it turns off while it's wireless, it defaults back to controller support because it does like a mode switch. Even though your keyboard and mouse are wired or plugged in or whatever, if your controller turns off, it defaults back. It's thinking that it needs to be a controller because it's looking for the connection. So I have to plug my controller into my Xbox to keep it going while I play Call of Duty. Otherwise, it craps out, which is really, really annoying. So if I forget. So I think I have tried it on Final Fantasy 14 now once, and I think I had the mouse drop out for a second, but I'm not sure that that's a proper problem yet. So, with the cloud gaming, so is that mostly only going to be on PC specifically?
Don't think it says.
I mean, it'll be for both,
support
right?
for Edge and Chrome browsers.
Yeah,
by
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
I'm gonna push through these next stories. Take-Two is acquiring Gearbox from Embracer for $460 million.
Which is quite a big chunk.
Is it? Is it when you lost $800 million on the deal over the space of 2 years?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like they like Embracer fucked it, but the fact that they're even getting that much for it surprises me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Gearbox has quite a few IPs.
They do. Their publishing arm has quite a few things as well, but
they've gotten rid of the publishing arm. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's very there's a lot of IP going with them, so it's interesting. I'll be interested to see what's happening there. I'm wondering, I don't know, like how good did Borderlands 3 do for them? I wonder.
Well, that's the interesting thing. Borderlands 3, I can't remember doing too well. But then that's not the IP that is most recent with the Borderlands stuff. It's Tiny Tina, and Tiny Tina
Wonderlands
did really well.
do quite well for them. Yeah, that's true. I keep forgetting about that.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Wonderlands did really well. Obviously, they got the movie coming out.
They were going to do a sequel to Wonderlands. They said they basically said they're working on another one.
So just going through the article, so Take-Two picking them up as a significant long-term Embracer Group shareholder. I believe in the strategy for the Embracer Group going forward, and I'm completely convinced that this transaction is the best possible scenario and an obvious net positive arrangement for Embracer Group, for Take-Two, and of course for Gearbox Entertainment, said Randy Pitchford. Primary interest is always Gearbox, especially our talent and our customers. I want to personally assure fans of our games that this arrangement will ensure that the experiences we have in development at Gearbox will be the best that they possibly can be. The deal will see Take-Two gain the rights to the Borderlands and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands franchises, as well as Homeworld, Risk of Rain, Brothers in Arms, and Duke Nukem. Studios included in the deal are Gearbox Software, Gearbox Montreal, and Gearbox Studio Quebec. What else was there? Pretty sure I saw somewhere there was 6 current games in development at Gearbox.
Yeah, because they said the Remnant series is going with them as long as a few others, right? And there's a few other bits and pieces.
Well, I think Remnant was publishing rights.
Yes.
And a few other bits and pieces. I mean, Risk of Rain only just released their Risk of Rain Returns on Steam, a few months ago?
Yeah.
So potentially you'd be looking at exclusives for the Epic Store. Wait, no. They'd have to do some kind of deal. Oh, yeah. What
do you mean?
Is it? No. Who owns Epic? Or
Epic on themselves.
Is that the Epic themselves? Do they have anything to do with Gearbox anymore or anything?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
I think
it's
been a while, right?
Stuff. Yeah.
But
I was wondering what the relationship would be.
Take-Two used to publish the Borderlands stuff anyway,
This
isn't a huge they already have an existing relationship with Gearbox, so I think this makes a lot of sense.
This kind of seems like the most likely outcome out of everything, right?
For sure. I imagine they were probably pretty quick on it to be like, yeah, we'll just take it. Like we already do a lot of work in that space. They're already familiar with it. They already have an existing relationship. Embracer need to offload it pretty quickly.
All right, so 8 games in development. Borderlands 4, Homeworld free. Third one, potentially a sequel to Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And then
which I think they pretty much said is happening.
Yeah. The other 5 kind of up in the air into what they are. I imagine Risk of Rain
another Duke Nukem game, sure. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can't see that existing any way outside of like a side scroller or something like that. They could not bring that into 3D and do what they did in Duke Nukem 3D anymore. They couldn't do that. So the world has changed since Duke Nukem. So
I'm wondering if we would get any more Borderlands stuff.
Well, there was a cancelled Brothers in Arms game.
I remember they showed that off years ago. They showed a trailer for it, and it was going to be like a kind of co-op sort of like different characters, almost like hero shooter PvE kind of thing. It looked like.
I can't remember, but that might have actually turned into a different game.
That wouldn't surprise me. I remember. I think. I think one of the lead writers for Borderlands 2 was one of the people working on it, Mikey. I think, if I remember correctly, this was a long time ago. But Brothers in Arms hasn't put out a game in a very Well, the last one did was Hell's Highway on the 360.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see whether they do another. Okay, it's not a. What's the best way to play this? New Tales from the Borderlands was a Quebec Gearbox game.
Yeah, and it was not very good apparently.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how many copies it sold.
Furious 4 was the Brothers in Arms game.
That's right.
Maybe they have more smaller side projects.
Yeah, they probably I think that would make a lot of sense. But 2K is not usually the company to do that kind of thing. You know, they're not. They don't tend to make those kinds of swings. But maybe this is them realizing that they kind of need something in that space and acquiring it.
Yeah.
Or maybe this is just, hey, we need Borderlands 4 because it's going for a good price.
Yes, yeah, and after this came out, there was also the layoffs related to it as well.
Yeah, which
we haven't got that up as a news article, but there's a whole bunch of layoffs related.
Yeah, releasing this, to the publishing and that.
Yeah, they announced the people the selling of it, and then people were going to sleep and waking up and realizing that they no longer had a job. So,
I mean, it's as unfortunate it is. It kind of makes sense. They don't need 2 publishing arms. These kind of we saw the same thing with Xbox. It sucks. I get it.
It was very, very quick. Yeah.
But I mean,
they want to recoup those millions that they just spent pretty quickly.
Yeah. As soon as Embracer is saying that they're selling, off, I would have started looking.
Oh, 100%. Everyone in that. Yeah, everyone. As soon as they realized that the Saudis couldn't give them their money they needed, I'd be looking for another.
Oh no, I mean in terms of the. Oh yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, Embracer was fire selling everything, and the fact that it's taken this long to get rid of some of their stuff. What do they have left? We should maybe not this episode, but maybe we should. I'm
curious now.
Very curious to see what they have. While you're looking that up, Relic has also been sold.
Yeah,
which is an interesting
that
one.
was a one that I was not expecting to wake up to this morning.
No, so Sega, who own Relic, Relic are well known for their sort of RTS genre work, especially in the Warhammer side of things. But it looks like they're going to become an independent studio.
Yeah.
They've had an outside investor basically buy them up. Relic has always been a bit of a weird one for Sega. It never felt like it fit quite. It was a bit of a strange acquisition for them, in the same way that Creative Assemblies seems a little bit outside of their wheelhouse. It was back when Sega used to invest in kind of outside of Japan companies, outside of your sort of RGGs and your Atlases.
But without that, we wouldn't have gotten Alien Isolation as well.
100%, yeah.
So,
yeah. Sega Europe laid off 121 employees from Relic last year because I think it was Company of Heroes didn't quite sell as well as they wanted it to, and so they had to make cuts. So maybe this is just kind of Sega had basically said they're doing a large amount of restructuring for themselves as well. So this is probably just part of it. They just were like, hey, rather than laying everyone off and closing the studio, let's try to make a little bit of money on it. I wonder who it's sold to and kind of who that investor is and all that kind of stuff. Because we saw a similar thing with Saber Interactive. Was that the one that?
To go independent, I believe, and
Yes.
Saber's doing the same thing. So this is another company replicating the going independent route.
So the interesting thing about that is the last two games that Relic made were Company of Heroes 3 and Age of Empires 4.
Yes, correct. So you think maybe this is an Xbox play?
Toys for Bob.
I mean, yeah, this is true. Actually, yeah, Toys for Bob have done the same thing too, and I think maybe this is a bit of a trend of change for
maybe. Okay. Yeah. What if Microsoft is going around in the background of just like, we will help. You guys want to go independent? We'll help support that. We're not in the. Okay.
They are in the acquisition space, though.
Let's just take the last few years, though, of how the acquisition of Activision Blizzard worked out for them.
Yeah, okay.
So...
Well, I'll put my tinfoil hat on. Let's hear it.
Let's put the tinfoil hat on. What if Microsoft leadership went, all right, this hasn't really worked. Activision Blizzard didn't really work out how we were hoping, with it all dragged
took
through.
way too long and all, but yeah.
How can we circumvent that? How can we get around the fact that, we want games on our platform? This is why we're acquiring these studios. What if we just partner with these studios instead? Have these kind of deals, like Toys for Bob, for example, which I believe it leaked that it's meant to be Spyro 4. I'm not sure.
Yes, I believe they said it was an existing IP, so it looks like it's Spyro 4 is the rumor, yeah.
So Toys for Bob have a reliable track record, have those deals with them, set those deadlines. What if this is just the same kind of thing?
I mean, we kind of talked about this with the Toys for Bob stuff, but my take on it is that this is basically like find an investor and go independent, or we shut you down. And so they're like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. You're kind of on the same train of thought there, Cameron, about so when the Activision Blizzard stuff was going on, I don't know how many people, I know I definitely had the same train of thought that basically they got rid of the Tomb Raider franchise. I believe Amazon bought that.
They bought
is it Core or it's IDOS now?
IDOS on it. Yeah.
So there was a train of thought going around, and I had the same thoughts where basically they were selling off the Tomb Raider and the IDOS stuff. And then people were thinking, oh, maybe on the back end, Microsoft's like, you take care of this for now for us, and then we'll swoop in and buy these later, kind of thing. And it's the same thing that you're thinking there.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if it's not a case of, like, we're going to swoop in. And I think anything that they try and acquire now, regardless of size, is going to be looked at closely.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, well,
if a level of scrutiny that's going to be pretty rough.
Maybe the maybe the play here is just we need to set up these other future games and all that. Let's go to developers that we have good track records, and it could be just another thing off the back of potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially it is that choice. I want to hope that it is a positive thing but that's just the optimism in me.
Yeah. The evidence that was kind of supporting people's thoughts with the IDOS stuff is that they were helping with the Perfect Dark game already.
Well, that was,
so
that's
maybe
Crystal Dynamics.
Crystal Dynamics were helping with that. So it's kind of like, they're already halfway
They
there.
have a relationship there already.
So where's the relationship that you would see with these besides of Age of Empires 4, obviously?
Yeah, so
is there a relationship outside of that?
Who's working on Age of Mythology? Is it Tachless?
Yes, I believe so. Because they just announced it. So I don't think it's definitely not Relic, right?
No, it's definitely not Relic.
Because it's a... Yeah.
I can't keep up with these different studios.
I think that the Toys for Bob situation is maybe a bit different because it was a case of this happened right after the acquisition. And so it was I think it was Microsoft taking stock and being like, okay, we need to make some changes in this area now that we own this company. And that company was like, yeah, we were fine under Activision, but we don't really want to be part of Microsoft. And we'll basically buy ourselves out of the situation. We still want to work with Microsoft, but we don't want to be owned or controlled by them. And the thing is that if you're owned by Microsoft, right, you can't make stuff for the PlayStation, and it's probably going to be harder to make stuff for the PC. You can't make stuff not for Xbox. Could you imagine could you imagine Rare going, yeah, actually we're going to make the next PlayStation exclusive? Even if Rare wanted to do that, they couldn't. And so maybe this is a situation where Toys for Bob are like, yeah, we actually want to work on games for all the consoles. And so Toys for Bob... Yeah.
You know what they should do? They should do what Nintendo used to be. I think we talked about it with the Legend of Zelda, how they did a Story of Seasons, Story of Ages.
Yeah.
They should release one version on Xbox and then a similar but not quite the same version on PlayStation. Make them cross-save so that you can play one version on Xbox and then you have to play the other version on PlayStation to get the full story. Or you could play them independently, but if you do play the other version, you can actually get the full story and get a climactic ending that would finalize everything. And then you're covering both platforms with individual stories that are the same stories, but they're different depending on where you start and where you end.
Do you want to know what the most insane thing is about that crazy, crazy idea?
Yeah.
Is that they kind of did something along those lines already with Spyro and Crash, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
They did a crossover game on I think it was the GBA. So this was it wasn't main consoles. But I believe and again, correct me if I'm wrong, this is half remembered from seeing it on store shelves. They did a game where Spyro was in Crash's world and Crash was in Spyro's world as 2D side-scroller games.
I don't remember that.
I'm gonna look this up. Maybe if this is some sort of...
Yeah. But those things are the real fun things, right? Because I remember back when this is kind of another tangent, but going back to kind of the Gearbox, the Duke Nukem had Commander Keen and a little alien guy called Cosmo from Cosmo's Cosmic Adventure in their older Podgy games. And just seeing those characters in that made it really, really good. So there was just fun little additions that you couldn't get anywhere else. So
Crash Bandicoot Purple and Spyro Orange were the crossover games. They released them at the same time, 2004, on the Game Boy Advance.
There you go.
I don't even remember.
Going back, I completely forgot about Forgotten Empires and World's Edge.
Oh yeah, true.
So we have American companies for it's messy. World's Edge did the console ports of 2 and 4. Age of Mythology is getting done by World's Edge and Forgotten Empires. But Age of Empires 4 on the PC port was partnered between Relic and World's Edge.
Yeah, so I wonder what Relic is going to do, because Relic back in the day could do no wrong. Company of Heroes 2 is one of the best RTSs of that era. It was so
something
good.
RTS space.
Of course, that's their strength, right? And that and Dawn of War 2 were back in the day were fucking incredible. It was the kind of stuff you would go to like PC cafes and play with your friends and stuff. Like it was towards the tail end of that time. They did say they're going to continue to support Company Heroes 3.
Yeah. There was some huge issues with Company Heroes 3, wasn't it?
There were quite a few, yeah.
Was it a technical issue or was it just a cop-out? Where
it was kind of both. People weren't really happy with the game's features and also had some technical bugs.
It's basically Company Heroes 2, but...
Yeah, but like it's been such a long time between 2 and 3 that people were expecting a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad they continue to operate. I'm glad they're not going under. But... Yeah, I mean, with Sega laying off 240 staff, we're losing more people from Creative Assembly and else places too.
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly blitz through the other news stories. So
yeah, go for it.
Certain Affinity, which is a Halo and COD support studio, has laid off 10% of their staff, or 25 people. In a statement, they said over the past 12 months, the games industry has faced unprecedented challenges. We are no exception. Today, we made the extremely difficult decision to inform 25 of our US-based employees that the jobs are being eliminated. This has had the most impact on our teams running our business operations. Multiple factors underlying this decision to do a layoff for the first time in our 17-plus year history. So there was that one, and then the other one that I kind of just put in here because obviously as, you know, working in game dev, I like to keep up with the GDC talks. And I thought this was a really nice one. Devs closing live service games should always make a private hosted version, Knockout City Dev says. So Veland Studios Director of Marketing, Josh Harrison, made the suggestion during a talk he held at GDC called All Good Things Sunsetting Your Game the Right Way. Veland's cross-platform dodgeball game was released in May 2021 under the EA Originals publishing label before the studio, which was also developed Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, took over publishing duties, and made it free-to-play in 2022. The game was then closed in June 2023, but not before Veland released a private server edition of the game on PC, which is still available to download on its website, and essentially keeps the game playable for multiplayer or bot matches with all previous modes and most non-licensed customization options unlocked. As reported by PC Gamer, Harrison noted in his talk that while he acknowledged not every studio can carry this out, those who are able to release a private server version of their game should do so when it shuts down. Speaking of the post-shutdown life, he said there's a small but mighty community that is still going, built around this private server months after shutdown by playing games daily, hosting their own tournaments, and raising their own prize pools and more. One community member even built a launcher that makes it easier to get into private servers, as well as see a private server list of active player accounts. So basically goes on to say that this could be a relatively light lift for most studios, given that development builds of the world behave very similarly to how a private server build would. He concluded, if you take one thing away from this talk, this is make a private hosted version of your game, which is the single biggest thing that we did to impact the positive reception of the sunset. It got great press, great reactions, and ultimately it keeps the game that everybody at the studio worked so hard on alive forever, even with the live servers online, offline.
Yeah. Well,
long read, but great talk.
Yes. Probably the thing that I have to say on this is that everything should start at a peer-to-peer level as a basis, and then go to private server, and then go to public servers with the peer-to-peer fallback. Yeah. So along with this, you could do something like Time Shift did on the 360, where you could have a device that acts as an actual host server, and then everyone else runs on a different device. So you can have both of those options in a game. They've been doing it on one or two games for a very, very long time on console, where they can have the peer-to-peer and then, have a console hosted as a server. Like most people have 2 or 3 consoles lying around if they've been in the business long enough and got a generation. You probably have an Xbox One lying around or something that could probably host a game, if nothing else. So
I'd be very interested to see how their private servers affect Steam achievements. Like whether that's still possible, because I've always been in the mindset of always develop your games to the point, like especially coming from marketing, always develop your games that their achievements and that are not going to give offline. Don't give your players a reason to not want to buy your game.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't put
100%.
barriers in front of them. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, thought it was a good story. There's some other GDC stuff that I've been reading through, but I think we've gone through news quite a bit.
Yeah. Let's move on. Do you want to go through the Game Pass updates, Cameron?
Did I add that in?
I've added them in for you.
Awesome, thank you. So March 26th, we had Terra Invicta release on PC, I believe. Game preview achievements. March 28th, we had Diablo 4, which is on console and PC. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged and Open Roads. Open Roads is the 40-minute completion, and Welsh already has a guide out.
Oh, great! I'm looking forward to that Annapurna joint.
Yeah. April 1st, Ark Survival Ascended. April 2nd, we have F1 23 and Super Hot Mind Control Delete. Leaving for the month, we have Hot Wheels Unleashed Infinite Guitars and MLB The Show 23. Which no surprise with MLB The Show 24 being added.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our Game Pass update. I'll quickly just mention our themed month. We decided to release it early because everybody's going to a long weekend, so we thought it would be a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Still technically have a couple of days to cross over to do the last months.
Yeah, maybe you can do both at the same time.
Yay.
Work on 360 IP. I know there's a lot of 360 games out there that are based on other media.
Yeah, so explain what the month is.
So basically because the 360 store is shutting down on July 29th, anything 360 backwards or non-backwards counts. And then we're also doing a voting round at the moment for our Game Pass for next month, which I believe it was Diablo 4, Evil West, Control Ultimate Edition, Warhammer Bolt Gun, Open Roads, and what was the other one I'm missing? No More Heroes 3.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool.
Who's winning the voting at the moment?
I think it was Ultimate. I think it was Control Ultimate Edition, which I am very excited to go back to.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, Control. Yeah, Control's great.
I honestly thought we were going to have a Diablo sweep.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But I guess maybe people aren't as hot on that as I thought.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're free to play whatever you want. But yeah, Control is currently winning by 2 votes. But yeah, more days.
Any progress that you do for them, we wouldn't this week, I think, but maybe next week could do some shout outs or something.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah,
if you get your updates in for both the Game Pass and the monthly book club as well.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, if you're doing April Achievement Challenge, make sure you do it all on 360 games. That's the secret teaser that the Xbox cast told us to say on our show.
Yeah, that's all you're getting. I signed up for that competition. I don't know how much score I'm actually going to put up.
Oh, they're betting on you doing a whole bunch. So
yeah, well, we'll see how that goes.
I was runner-up last year, so they're thinking a head-to-head, Neo and Keo.
We should just this is what we should do. We should all sign up, but all our game score has to only be counted from 360 games. Otherwise, we're going to trash them.
Brutal. All right. Well, maybe I shouldn't have uninstalled Lego.
That's the handicap.
Yeah.
Or you could just go outside and take a walk, because that's part of their challenge.
Also true, but I'm not doing that. I don't even own a pedometer.
I mean, moving house, I just need to equip it a pedometer. That works.
Yeah, work it out. Yeah.
Work it out.
All right. Let's get what we're in. Yeah. Let's move it out. Let's get into what we've been playing. I will just quickly go through a couple of things. I haven't been playing a huge amount, but I finished up SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom - Rehydrated, very long title, for the book club as a game based on another IP or another media.
You mean for the theme?
It was actually not too bad.
Theme month, not book club.
Oh, theme month. Sorry, yes. It was actually
that's right.
It was pretty good actually. I could see, like, it was a relatively solid game that kind of reminded me of like old school Jak and Daxter or those kind of typical old school platformers. You know, you got a move that you do a double jump and then you spin and you get a little bit further in the air and stuff. Like, it's a very, very like PlayStation, classic PlayStation
PS2
1
like
or 2.
IP kind of.
Exactly, like your classic PlayStation 2 platformer IP. It plays relatively well. Like it's quite painless. There's a lot of collectible stuff. It kind of reminded me of elements of it kind of has a little bit of that Super Mario thing where it's like go and collect the spatulas in different areas, and every area has kind of different things you can do to collect. Like instead of stars, you get the 100 spatulas or whatever. Um, yeah, like it was pretty good actually. Has like you can play multiple characters. There's kind of little different events and little different challenges. Not overly difficult. There's like a couple of like little tiny like things that are a bit annoying, but overall, breeze of a game. Had actually a pretty decent time playing through it. There's a really good walkthrough on IGN if you really need one though. I also started Rush, a Disney Pixar adventure, because I was looking for something new to play on my PC. This game's fucking awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. I have tried.
Wasn't it Mikkel who said this in the past? Like, don't start this game.
Yeah.
And you decided to
It's
start it.
really bad. I've done like the Ratatouille world, and like there's no game here. Like it's so clearly a
You should have started Kingdom Hearts instead.
I've played Kingdom Hearts. I need something that runs on my PC. But yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
But I will go through it. But I've needed somebody to play on my laptop while my Xbox is being used. So I figured that was a nice lightweight game to do. Because I also did a new Super Lucky's Tale, which, talking about 3D platformers, this game is fucking fantastic. I had a great time with this. It's
The new one is fantastic.
yeah, the new one. Yes, I haven't played. I know the old one definitely has some very rough edges in terms of like the fixed camera and some of the more bullshit stuff with achievements and some grinding in it. But this version's great. Free roam camera, some 2D, 3D levels, has like a couple of runner levels. Doesn't overstat its welcome. Took me like 6 hours to finish.
Perfect Gids came except for the DLC.
The DLCs, like the challenge DLC, actually get somewhat difficult. But I like the aesthetic. It's kind of got a vaporware thing going for it. And the penultimate warrior, who's clearly Macho Man Randy Savage, which is great.
I mean, these devs are the guys that should be doing a Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I looked at them and I was like, what are these guys doing now? Like, because they haven't put out a game since this.
Yeah.
And like these guys would be a fantastic dev for like a Banjo game, 100%. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. I'm assuming Iconi Island is you, Cameron.
Yeah, I haven't really played much this week. I'll go through Iconi because it is the game that I played through the most last weekend. So to give like a little bit of a history update, 1.0 released in February and then was shortly taken down because the game was not meant to release. It was meant to be delayed. Xbox put it up. I got access to a code. I started playing through some of it, but then I decided I'm going to put this down, wait for the full release, and not botch myself out of any more achievements. Release came March 21st. I decided to boot it up, spend all weekend tackling it. What was unknown to everyone in the community that was keeping up with this game, they released it as 1.5, which, doesn't sound much different, except the entire structure of the start of the game had been reworked. So a few notable differences between 1.0 and 1.5 was in 1.0, you have these creatures that you can use to like chop down wood, break rocks and all that, which is your progression through the game. You unlock these new areas that are blocked off by logs or rocks. You need to collect fish to offer to these. You need to collect items to offer to the statues to get it to, build to the next stage. And you need to get to like stage 2 of all these buildings. It's cozy life sim where you're just going around collecting stuff, bringing it back, updating it, and then personalizing it. The problem was you could use like a sword to chop down like the shrubs. You could use your hammer to break down the rocks. And one of the achievements was hitting 1,000 of these. What I discovered after putting a bug report in was the devs came back to me. The achievement's still accessible, but you need to make leaf blades and then go around cutting down blades of grass that are in these areas 1,000 times. Right. And you might have like 1 or 2 blades on a screen.
So you're gonna be there for a while.
It's gonna be a long grind. In 1.0 they had monster spawners that you could destroy with your level 3 guy that destroys the rocks. The creature destroys the rocks, kind of like a bull. Monster spawners spawn 2 on the game now in the 1.5 update. So that's completely broken. I'm currently also working on the Fashionista achievement, which is getting 3 different items of clothing. That didn't unlock for me, but apparently unlocked in the dev build, so something's going on with that environment.
So they've made changes, but not everywhere.
So it's a weird point now where the game's released earlier than it was meant to, had obtainable achievements, had mostly obtainable achievements with the exception of a few. It has then hit 1.5. The unobtainable achievements are obtainable now. But there's discontinued achievements now. But the discontinued achievements haven't been unlocked in the 1.0 build. So I don't know whether to say they're unobtainable or discontinued. It's a mess. Right. The game, when it is... so the game, for the most part, is very fun. I know people that have played in multiplayer, though, where it has reset their achievements, joining in as the second player, which is bad.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's a fun game, just riddled with frame rate issues, or you can bond with creatures now in the 1.5 update, so you can actually go around and just hit into the rocks, and it's a lot quicker process. But if you're holding something at the same time you're bonding, I bonded into my watering can, and then I was just walking around.
Cameron, every time you talk about this game, it sounds like trash. I gotta be honest. This sounds like a broken fucking mess.
It is a fun survival sim that is riddled with bugs, and I'm hoping they fix it because I want to get the first for it. Because for the most part, that weekend, I enjoyed my time with it. I just did podcasts. I just, started up a farm, went around. It was an enjoyable game, but yeah, it's broken. I will get firsts for it out of principle because I wanted first this year. But yeah, you're right. I'm not going to be able to drag anybody else into this. This is a solo endeavor. Yeah. Their community manager. So there's a character in the game called Frog Boy, which is a 10-year-old boy that just goes around dressed as a frog. You can buy items off him, and they have a whole brand voice going. Every message in the Discord, and that is in this weird frog brand voice. And the only reason I bring, it's really weird because I haven't seen a games studio respond to comments like this. But I mean, frogs are a whole thing. There's a Steam festival coming out at the end of the year that is all frog themed games.
I mean, I'm down for that. I like Frog Detective's great.
If you've watched Wholesome Games, one of the last showcases was just every second game was frog game.
People like frogs. I get it.
They're moving on to crabs. Frogs will be overrated.
Yeah,
very soon.
They're gonna scuttle into crabs. Yep.
I don't know if that was do you want to plug Aggro Crab's new game?
Yes, it looks great. I fucking want to play that. It looks so much fun.
I played the demo. Kia, do you know what I'm talking about?
It's the Dark Souls thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the Dark Souls.
Yeah. That's the one I was referring to, but I couldn't remember the name. So
I'm so keen for that.
Yeah.
Their studio is so unhinged on all social media. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm gonna quickly just clean up a few games at once.
Yeah, go for it.
Project Cars 2, we got our boosting out of the way.
Yep.
That was good. Vampire 2, we did a little bit. What else? I did a little bit. Scott Pilgrim, me and Keo started.
Yeah. So you mentioned this to me. You brought this up that you wanted to do it, and I was already trying to look at doing it with Jester to test the multiplayer because it's broken in that game, right?
Yeah, multiplayer is borked.
Yeah, so you and I connected to that and managed to do some.
Yeah, did a few levels. It's pretty enjoyable. I think it's one of those things we just gotta work away at. And then I'll quickly just Borderlands 3. I started. It's
okay, yeah.
It's an enjoyable, better experience than Borderlands 2 in every way but its story.
Yeah, I heard the stories where it gets let down.
Yeah, I did not really like Borderlands 3.
It feels like more of a... The biggest problem I have with it is Sanctuary being that ship. The ship layers and all that are dreadful. It is so hard to navigate the first time you're there. The other thing is it feels very sandboxy. Like the other Borderlands games, I mean, 1 was like a proof of concept, right? 2 kind of nailed it for what I would expect a Borderlands game to be. 3 just feels like it's such a bigger scale, which more
they wanted to go bigger and better, right? That was the whole thing. They were like, because
it's like Remnant, bigger doesn't equal better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
More guns don't equal better.
I've liked the guns so far.
I didn't like a single gun that I used, I think, in that game, and that was one of the big problems I had with it. The randomly generated, you wouldn't get what you wanted, and there was nothing useful. Like the guns were just not useful. They were just alternate, randomly generated versions of each other. So
yeah, I think the best part for me is I'm getting carried through like a level 30, a level 50, and a level 70. So that's a good experience when I haven't started before.
Okay, yeah, fair.
But yeah, I mean, the story in that's uneventful. There's not really much else I can say about it. But other than...
It kind of passed me by. It was one of those things where, like, I really enjoyed Borderlands 2, and I liked 1 for the most part, although it's a little rough when you go back and play it now.
Yeah.
And as part of our themed game month, I might end up going back to pre-sequel.
One's like Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, for sure. So I just 3 I just missed. It was like wrong time. Didn't really. Yeah.
Like I've seen people play Tiny Tinas before, and people love Tiny Tinas.
Yeah.
Pre-sequel was one of those ones that have compatibility packs, and if you have the season pass, you have to go into the game to download the individual content to access it.
I'm just going to blitz that game. I think
source. So
you need to go and do it.
Definitely, it's going to be messy if you don't deal with it straight away. Because I haven't dealt with it straight away. It's probably just going to, be trouble for me later on. So,
yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing.
Going back to Scott Pilgrim for a second, probably the thing after I didn't play it originally when I was on the 360. The thing that I don't really like about it is the fact that the skill sets are locked behind the progression. If you had a better move set straight off the bat, that would be a lot better, because it just feels clunky when you have one button press moves.
Yeah.
I think at the start there. So, but it does really feel a lot better once you start getting some moves unlocked with the characters. Like fast and fluid and.
It's one of those things that you don't want to grind to upgrade in a game when you just want the full experience to be accessible from the start.
Yeah,
especially with beat 'em up.
Yeah, the moveset, like, it's key in that game, and if you're gonna have the moveset by the time you get to the end of the game, you've missed the whole experience with the moveset.
For sure.
So, yeah. So, well, I've also been doing a few different things. Mostly dabbling. I downloaded and loaded into Final Fantasy XIV for the first time to do a couple of tests, and I got all my achievements to carry over from the trophies from PlayStation. Except for because where I am with both of the characters that I have, they're both in Endwalker level content, which is 2 expansions down. So the thing I had to do was to unlock the achievements. They didn't automatically unlock. I had to do one thing with each of those things to get it to unlock. Like, you could get the Fisher up to level 80 achievements, so 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever they were, but I had to fish once. And then it's like it checked with the server, and then it did everything. And it was like that. It was like do a dungeon, it unlocked the dungeon-related achievements. Mining, had to hit a tree with a, one of the classes that hit trees, stuff like that, and rocks and whatever to unlock those achievements. Yeah, and so I got most of it except for the story, because I would technically have to do a main scenario quest to unlock all of the other main scenario quest achievements. And I can't because I don't have the expansions yet with that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so because I only have the starter pack that came out with Xbox Game Pass.
Right.
So it's, what, $68 to get the Endwalker add-on that includes Shadowbringers.
Yeah.
So you get 2 expansions for the same price together in the bundle price. And it's going to be the same for they actually announced the new expansion release date and prices as well. It's July, I think, for that now, for the new expansion, and it's about the same price for that too. So you can pre-order that now on the Xbox Store with that too. So I'll be looking at that. Maybe that's a good direction for my Microsoft Rewards points or something. Getting some of that, that's a good way to get access to it, especially with the coins that they've got that relate to the store. You can, do
that weird coin thing they're doing.
Yeah. Other than that, I've still been working on Armored Core Verdict Day. I finished the story and was working on just the world bosses and stuff, but I had to do a couple of things like rank myself up to get to unlock a few weapons. And now that I've done that, today I had a session where we went and did 2 world bosses. We could have done more except for a couple of things where we dropped out. You had to do 6 sorties to unlock the ability to do 1 special sortie, and there was a couple where we dropped out of the match mid-match, and it might have just been like a syncing between different areas of the world that it just dropped one person out and then dropped everybody out, and we just lost those 6 missions and had to do it again. But there's only a couple of days left before the servers go down on that. Technically, I've done at least one of the ones that require more than one person, like 4 people, to do it, because it's this huge moving castle thing. It's like a moving fortress. We had to you started very, very far away from it, and you had to boost with all 4 of you to the fortress and then climb up the fortress, taking out all the 20 turrets or whatever it was that was on the fortress.
That sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was really, really good, because as soon as you take out the 4 or 5 turrets that were on one arm, the whole arm would collapse. And if you went off the arm, you were done for. So you had to kind of leave. So it was really, really good. So that was one of the ones we did there. So, and the other one was a nice, easy one. But there are a couple more where the one's a desert one where there's basically a huge transformer-looking thing that flies around like Starscream or whatever, like Transformers. It stays in the air until you snipe it out, and then it hits the ground, and then it's basically a tank fight. So there's a couple of really difficult ones like that that I'd have to deal with. But everything else apparently could be soloable if I really, really put into effort, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah. I guess I'll... Do you have more that you want to go? I've got a couple more things that I can go over.
Yeah, go for it. I'll talk a little.
So,
I'll finish up at the end.
To do with the theme of the month, I actually started the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Mayhem.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Ninja Turtles originated from a comic, so that's included.
Yeah, that's fair. Totally fair. Yep.
Yeah. So
I thought they originated from the New York sewer.
I mean, in a comic, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff that blinded Daredevil.
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video on that actually, where the reference was basically directly, related to the tube hitting the dude, and then he held some turtles or something. And they fell into
it's like again, like Teenage Mutant TMNT has the Foot Clan, Daredevil fights the Hand. Yeah. His trainer is Stick, their trainer is Splinter. Yes, it's very much a response.
Yeah. I was watching the Game Apologist's video that he did on the origins of the Teenage Ninja Turtles, and he goes through the original comic. It's a really good job that he did. So yeah. So basically, this is the Platinum Games Ninja Turtles game, along the lines of the Korra game and the Transformers Devastation that they did. It was basically like a trilogy of games of random IP that they did that all got delisted, unless you could get a hold of a physical copy, which Korra never had, but you could get Ninja Turtles and Devastation.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
too bad actually, between $20 to $30, unless you really, depending on where you get it from, a lot more. so not that hard to get. This game kind of plays. I've only done one level so far. I was doing it with Death Jester. It's set up like there's a boss at the end of the levels, but you had to go through basically room sets where you'd clear an objective and then go to another room, clear an objective, and then you'd have a meter that slowly builds up to the end, to the boss. So there's a line across the screen, and it's got a bar that goes across, and it has like a picture of the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And you eventually build up enough to go and defeat the boss. Once you feel like you've cleared enough rooms, you just go do that. And this one was just like a subway level where you do the room, you jump on the train, you go to the next area. Very easy. I don't know what the other levels are like, but apparently, so I believe we were defeating Rocksteady or Bebop, one of them. Anyway, one of them starts, but there's a random chance, and this is for an achievement as well, that you fight both Rocksteady and Bebop in the same battle.
Oh, okay.
But so you go into the to the boss battle at the end of the level, and this train zooms past, and one of them basically breaks out of the train towards the turtles, and you're fighting. But we haven't seen it yet. But there's only a slim chance that you actually get both showing up, and then the achievement is to have both show up, and then to both die by the trains.
Oh, man.
So you've got trains on both sides of the room,
Mm-hmm.
and one will go, and immediately the other one will go. So you know when one goes, the other one's it's predictable. But they both need to die by being hit by the trains. So
Christ.
Not only do you have a slim random chance of the 4 or 5 times that we played it, we didn't have him show up. Slim chance that that both of them will actually be there for the battle, and then you have to get them hit by the trains. As they're dying, if you're playing with 2 people, AI characters always beating on these characters. So you better do it with 4 people. So you
Fuck, that sounds like a nightmare.
Messing around with your chances, basically. So
the achievements like that just drive me fucking
so
nuts.
yeah, I mean it's a nifty little achievement set. Like the fact that there's a random chance encounter for a second boss at the end of a level is insane.
Yeah.
So but other than that, really standard objectives. It's not really that impressive.
I was gonna say, does it get like super difficult? Because platinum games on high difficulties, you're talking about your kind of Bayonettas and getting up to Devil May Cry character action games.
Even on the easiest difficulty, we were dying a little bit.
Right.
So so I imagine it would be, and it seems to be kind of an in between Transformers Devastation, and Korra had, I believe, linear levels.
Yeah.
Korra had linear levels, but they were full levels. I think Transformers is similar, I think, where you have to go... I've not played this properly. I've only played one level of that as well. Go through a level, like a linear level, and then there's a boss in that area kind of thing. This is kind of like similar to that, but it seems like if the whole game goes like this, you have to do a bunch of rooms to build up a meter and then defeat the bosses. So we'll see. The only other thing I've been working on is that, like with the Scott Pilgrim, I got access to Ubisoft Plus. And the thing that I said that I was going to do when I did that was access a whole bunch of DLC and do the DLC in the games that I don't have the DLC for. And I've started with Charles Fusion Orcs Max DLC because I couldn't be asked paying another $13 for DLC that had 5 achievements that, never goes on sale. Whatever. I also wanted to do... I've downloaded Prince of Persia, so I need to start that, which was another reason. But I want to do the DLC in Far Cry 6, Trials Rising, and maybe the Immortals DLC. So that's like a big focus of getting like a whole bunch of stuff that that they have accessible through that system. And then also do Prince of Persia, maybe have a look at Avatar. At least anyway, whether or not I finish them all or come back to them later on, separately. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah,
I'd be very curious to hear kind of what you do on your Ubisoft Plus journey, because I think for the month that I had it, I got quite a bit out of it and really, really enjoyed the games that I played.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Ubisoft to put out some more games worth playing. I guess we'll wait till Star Wars Outlaw comes out or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I've been playing is the long-awaited time. It is in honor of episode 117. For John himself, I have started the Halo Master Chief Collection.
I'm clapping.
I couldn't let Cameron have that completion to himself. So I'm attempting it.
I'll see you in 2030.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm basically my plan is basically I'm gonna do some like easy runs or like normal runs and just run through the game and grab the collectibles and all the miscellaneous stuff, and then do like cleanup afterwards. I'm doing a legendary run with Dominic, Cameron's friend, who's very, very good at the game. So we're doing a legendary run, and I'm with him. And then when I'm by myself, I'm just kind of doing all the rest of the stuff. So I've done a lot of multiplayer stuff.
Oh, right.
And so I've been working on it quite a bit. I started it Thursday.
You've already done 28% of it.
Yeah, I started on Wednesday, and I've got 195 of the achievements. So
right. That's probably definitely more than me, even still. Like I don't think I've done much at all. So
I'm fucking loving it. So I got through Halo 1 and I finished up Halo 3. I did Halo 3 today. Again, I'm not gonna say finished up because there's so much fucking shit to do for them.
Yeah.
But I did my first run of Halo 1 and my first run of Halo 3, and I just started doing Spartan Ops for Halo 4. But that's gonna take ages because there's fucking 50 of them.
yeah.
Yep.
And you have to do them all solo and legendary, which I'm really like. I'll talk more about it because again, like when I've put some more time into the game, but this game is like these games. You can really see around the edges. These games are not like legendary difficulty is kind of ridiculous in the way that it's like a lot of the stuff is not meant to be played solo, and you can tell pretty much that they were like, if you're playing legendary, you either need to be cracked as hell, or you need to be with a group of people. It really, like the Halo series is very much like a co-op thing, but playing through Halo 3, like 1 and 3 are my two favorites, and 3 is, I was talking about this with Allison, might be close to my like one of the most perfect games of all time. Like there is only like one bad level in that entire game, and it's the Cortana level with all the
Yeah, I agree.
It's like the second to last level or whatever, and it's fucking terrible.
The level design for Cortana's the one inside the flood, right?
In the flood thing, inside High Charity, where you got to get Cortana.
The level design for it's horrible.
Yeah, it's bad. It's just stops you every 5 seconds with these weird cutscene things, and like you just get swarmed with enemies, and it's very hard to find things.
There are skips for the. It all depends on like falling in the right angle. Yeah, so much to it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I've been doing some of the miscellaneous stuff, like get through these levels without using vehicles, or save all these Marines, or find all the collectibles, like all the terminals and skulls and stuff. I'm having a great fucking time with it.
Cool.
I fucking like I'd forgotten how much I love Halo as a franchise and as a game. I haven't hit the wall yet. I definitely will. I know I will hit it when it comes to some of the like the par score stuff. I know isn't too difficult, but the par time stuff, the speedrun stuff. And of course, the lasso stuff is going to be very, very rough. But I have a long way to go until I get there.
I have 2 reasons why I stopped playing this game. I had negative Ghost Rider glitch on me, which is get a Skull and Manjaro in a match-made Headhunter game.
Oh, yeah.
I've achieved it multiple times, and it's not unlocked. And Skunked, which is a match-made game of Invasion of First Phase. That also glitched on me too.
Yeah.
So
I have a lot of the matchmaking stuff left to do, so I need to get maybe some people together, or I don't know who's still playing.
I'd be more than happy to try these things again. Yeah,
that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find. There's certain achievements. Oh yeah, okay. Like all the Lasso campaign playlists are named after speedrunners in the Halo community from that time. I'm not sure if you've like watched any of Naked Eli's videos or.
No, I haven't yet, but I know of them. They get mentioned a bit in the walkthrough and stuff, so they're kind of what I'm going to be using.
Like, there's a level in Halo 4 that just skips 2/3 of the level, but I can still. There's so much of that game that I can still just paint in my head. Halo 2 is probably like the least one that I can remember.
Halo 2 is my least favorite.
Yeah.
And it's probably the one I'm going to do last because it's
probably
also the
Halo
most
2
difficult.
It was the one that took me the longest.
Yeah, Halo 2 I did on Games Windows Live, and
yes,
I 100% that one. So yeah.
I will say the cool thing with Halo 2 though is there feels like there's so much more hidden Easter eggs, like outside maps and that kind of stuff.
That's kind of where they started doing the skull stuff. So,
but Halo 3, I do agree. It's like near perfect.
It's just like the fucking like the arc level where you're just like, fucking, tank beats Hunter, tank beats Wraith, tank beats everything, and you fucking then the Scarab shows up, and then there's the part in the snow and the Covenant level where there's 2 Scarabs and you're in the Hornet flying around, and the music, and then of course like the getaway at the end where you the platforms are collapsing, and if you got to do the Vidmaster, we have 4 people on ghosts, and just like
I've done that Vidmaster so many times.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it again for this as well, and I'm looking forward to it because it's fucking great, and it's not that difficult.
There's so much in this that I want to ask you questions about as soon as you get to it, like how Gravemind on Legendary, like what your pass score ends up being.
Yeah,
because Gravemind is no walk in the park.
No, exactly. Yeah, so
like obviously like the lasso runs, stuff like the miscellaneous achievements, like crossing arc without being in a vehicle. That just takes
It took me a long time. It took me a long time. I did it yesterday, and I was nearly threw my fucking controller.
Yeah.
It turns out you can do it in co-op, and it's a lot easier, but I bashed my head against it until I got it, but it took me hours.
I think you need to do it at least on medium, right? On normal?
You got to do it on Legendary.
Oh, okay.
You have to do it on Legendary, and you can't touch a vehicle, and especially that end bit where you're fighting off like 3 Wraiths.
Oh, yeah.
And fuck it. It's, oh my. I mean, the Scarab at the end isn't too bad because you can get underneath it, but fuck, that part took me a long time. Thankfully, you can use the bandana skull, so you can at least have infinite ammo. But
lots of memories.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm having a great time with it. I literally only started it like 2 days ago, so I'll have a lot more to say once I'm a bit deeper into it.
Is there any game that you haven't touched yet?
Not really. I did like 2 seconds of ODST, and I did the first level of Reach. And I haven't done anything of 4 yet, but I started Spartan Ops, which is basically more of that.
Yeah,
because you have to do all 50 episodes of Spartan Ops, which is
4 is a good game. Spartan Ops is not.
No, yeah, I don't know about 4. I've never 4. I was kind of iffy about. It was 343's first thing. So, anyway,
multiplayer stuff's going to be interesting too.
Yes, yep. Going to probably need to get some people together for that. All right. Well, let's get into the leaderboard. So on the leaderboard this week, in 3rd place we have me, Neomaster, with 5,615. Thank you, Master Chief Collection, for a big chunk of that. And in 2nd place we have Char with 6,235. They've been putting up some score recently, which is great. And in 1st place we have Martel with 11,120.
Horse games.
Yeah.
Horse games.
Yes, lots of horsing around.
All horsing around.
All right. Completions.
Oh, man. Could you imagine a BoJack Horseman game?
I could not imagine. I don't even know how that would work.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just Will Arnett just voicing a drunk horse everywhere. That's all. That's all it needs to be.
Keo, you want to go through completions?
All right. Left 4 Legacy did Need for Speed Unbound. Scooby-Doo did Life Year Front Year, and We Were Here Together. J-Dubs did Power Wash Simulator and Paw Patrol World. Shadow Slide did Armored Core Verdict Day and Fallout 76. Cobra Todd did Hot Wheels Unleashed. Baron von Neumann did Lightyear Frontier, Fallout 76, and MLB 24. So that must be an easy one. Are they always easy?
Apparently they're not too bad.
Okay, cool.
I hear Baron knocked it out of the park.
Okay.
See how I set you up?
Man, you need to run home with that one.
Bulbasaur did Hot Wheels Unleashed and Brotato. Vex173 did Brotato. Moonzom did Resident Evil 2. And Zenimus did Bluey.
I also finished Brotato as well, which I didn't mention because there's fuck all to say about that game, but thank God.
Yeah, actually, I never mentioned that too. We both did Lightyear Frontier.
And we didn't mention it. We mentioned most of it on the last show. It's fine.
Was it worth mentioning?
Yeah. It was a good game. Lightyear is definitely one of the better cozy games on Game Pass to play with friends.
I'm probably going to give it a go at some stage. I think Alison might like it as well.
Yeah, it's really good when you can have a carry.
Thanks, yeah, that helps always. Cameron's just passing on through all the games he's been carried through.
Wow. You're just trying to get as much of Halo done so you can't use that as an excuse.
100%. Yes, I am 100%. So we've got the word challenge, everyone's favorite competition, where I pick a game and everyone has to guess what it is. And someone finally won it with one of the most insane games I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
I'm so like, so Natola Nader guessed it, and when he figured it out, he had done a guess beforehand, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I know what it is. I know what it is." And he waited, and I was like, "Does he know what it is?" And he fucking did. So the clues were: this game has a cancelled sequel. It involves a sport.
Yeah.
It has a colon in the title. It's set in a future New York. And the new clue that I was going to give this week was that the idea from this game came from Michael Jordan's Wikipedia page.
Jeez.
I will explain this in a second. But the game we're talking about is Barclay's Shut Up and Jam Gaiden. So Barclay's Shut Up and Jam is an old sports arcade game. And I don't know, have either of you heard of this game before?
I had no idea what the hell this was.
Okay. So this is a free game that was made in Game Maker. It's a JRPG.
Yep.
And it started because there was a discussion on the Wikipedia page for Michael Jordan around whether Space Jam, the movie Space Jam, was part of his life because he plays himself in that movie. So is it like Space Jam? He doesn't play. It's not like Michael Jordan playing a basketball actor in that movie. It's Michael Jordan as very much Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Playing basketball with Looney Tunes characters. And so people are like, so was Space Jam something just like, do we list that in his biography as something that happened to him? that happened to Michael Jordan? And so it came up with this idea where they were like, it's just the most ridiculous like discussion that was going on, where they were like, what would happen if we made a game that was based around basketball? And so the whole, like, if you haven't seen this, go on Wikipedia and read the plot of this game. Basically, the whole thing is that after the Space Jam, they refer to it as canonically as something that happened in the past in this game.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley was playing a game of basketball in New York and did a chaos dunk that killed everyone in attendance. And therefore, after that, basketball has been banned and basketball players have been hunted down. And Michael Jordan heads up an organization that hunts down basketball players because they're too dangerous to be left alive. And so what happens is there is another chaos dunk years later, and Charles Barkley gets blamed for it. And so you play as him going around and meeting famous basketball players and the ghosts of other ones and all kinds of shit. It's the most insane fucking thing. It's so funny. It is like it, but it's the most genius, like ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life because it never winks at you. It never goes, ha ha ha, this is funny. It takes itself 100% seriously with the most insane shit I've ever seen in my entire life. If you like go like, I don't think people should play it, but I would say go watch some, like there are a lot of people have done like let's plays of it and videos. Like it's well worth just like watching a bit of it to get an understanding of what the fuck this thing is.
This is the kind of stuff that I'm expecting from the Wu-Tang game.
Exactly. That's exactly 100%.
That's the first thought I had. So
and so like the image that I used for this, if you saw the image when Natolinator got it right, was it's just like a low res version of Charles Barkley, and it just says, "My name is Charles Barkley. I'm one of the last b-ball stars alive," and that's like the opening of the game. It's fucking ridiculous, and I'm so glad someone got it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of any other scenario where a game like that could exist. Like I'm trying to think of any other form of media where people could have an argument over the fact that that actor is playing themselves in that particular thing. Because you're right, Space Jam is the only thing I can think of Michael Jordan.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Unless you're doing like a documentary series or anything, like it doesn't.
Which is but it's like them playing themselves. It's kind of like, I guess the only other maybe example is like sometimes like the Muppet stuff. Maybe you could argue like actors maybe playing themselves sometimes and stuff, or I don't know. But even then, it's kind of like,
Well, I mean, okay. Well, there was that back in action Looney Tunes thing with Brendan Fraser.
I love that movie so much.
In that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean,
But Space Jam is just top tier. But yes, the game did have a sequel that they had in production, but unfortunately got cancelled.
Chuck Norris in Dodgeball, a True Underdog Story.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, true. He did play himself. That is true. Yeah,
David Bowie in Zoolander.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
I've just looked up 20 actors who played themselves in
movies.
Steve Carell in Knocked Up.
Oh, well, all right. Steve Carell, I don't know, but yes, congratulations to Natolinator, one of our wonderful patrons. Make sure you get in touch, and we'll get you a prize. And then I'm going to try and come up with a new game for next week.
Bill Murray in Zombieland. Zombieland
true.
2
Actually,
Double
that would be a
Tap
good
should
one.
have
That
been.
would actually be a really good one. Because to be fair, Bill, like so much shit has happened to Bill Murray that actually that wouldn't be that far fetched. I've been like, yeah, Bill, yeah. Space Jam is also a great movie. All right, Patreon. Cameron, do you want to read out our Patrons?
Yep. I was gonna say just one last suggestion was Neil Patrick Harris and Harold Kumar.
Yeah, okay. I don't even know what that game would be.
I don't know what that game would be. I just know it would be.
I would play a Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle roguelite.
Yes.
I feel like that'd have to be a VR game, actually.
Yes, it would.
All right. Patrons. We have Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natalator, Mad Lefty 2097, Admiral Awesome, Heavy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Prone, Cavalier 07, Ome Clown, Mark B, Mick11 Legend, Message, Left for Legacy, and McNulty. Have you checked the Patreon lately? Are these names up to date?
Yes, they should be. Right. They still match up. The amount of people who have subscribed hasn't gone down, thankfully. So
cool. I haven't checked it out.
So a huge thank you to our patrons. We could not afford to do the show without you guys. You guys truly are supporting us. And if you're interested in joining the Patreon, we put all of our content out available to all tiers, no matter how much you give. And we put the before and after shows on there and any other content that we do, some of our specials and other bits and pieces.
Today we maybe do some politics.
Yes. You get to hear some very interesting takes from us. And I guess that's kind of going to bring us towards the end of the show. As always, we do the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. Come say hi, hang out in the chat, ask questions, interact. We always appreciate it. I guess let's wrap up. Cameron, what have you got going on? Anything you want to share? I know you're moving house and you're busy, so probably not.
I'm moving my house, and then I'll start streaming again. I want to do some indie stuff, and I'm going to DreamHack next month, maybe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So a lot of things.
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, so you can catch me when I'm streaming at Kill Live at Home on Twitch, and on Twitter you can find me Kill Live at Home as well. You can also catch me on Instagram these days. I also do. I did a weird little thing this week where I just kind of like made a custom like a cup holder and attached it to the side of my desk. So I'm doing some weird little craft things where I'm putting my gaming setup together and stuff like that. Maybe I'll do a gaming setup video or something as well.
I'm surprised you haven't already gone out and went, you know, like those Chinese websites that have the full gaming bed experience with like the desk chair here and...
That's because all of my setup is ad hoc. Bits of other things, like I'm using 2 different desks and one of them is a kitchen island with cables and attached and all kinds of stuff behind it, and then I've got things everywhere and I'm spread out. Yeah. It's all MacGyvered, so I do have to do a video at some point on it. So maybe a lot of that stuff will end up on Instagram, maybe not.
No, I want this Patreon exclusive MTV Cribs, you know.
Like,
here's my setup. Yeah.
Look, maybe when I get to the point where I have a patron, or we can talk about this later.
Okay. All right. We'll set this for the after show.
So we can do a Cribs behind the scenes, everybods setups or something. Or they're good or bad.
When time moves.
And then you can also catch the VODs and stuff like that from my streams at HTFG Play. Yeah. So that's HTFG Play it's on YouTube. So
amazing. And speaking of YouTube, the show also goes out on YouTube. So if you're interested in watching the VOD if you're listening to the audio version and you want to catch the old episodes, we also have a YouTube channel you can find on there. Do an easy search for Xbox Hall of Gamers. You'll find us. Otherwise, keep subscribing, giving us likes, comments, all that kind of stuff. We appreciate all the support and the engagement from our audience. Well, that's been episode 117. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Peace out.